Okay, so I'm going to type something random in here. So I'm going to type this is a test. Okay, now I'm going to hit the submit button. Okay, and when I go back to my IDE, oops, I wanted to print X, not the request.form. Okay, so I'm going to print X. We run this. Now I just want to review what I typed in the text box. Just so we could see how the user could type in an input, and that input, right, value will get transferred from the front end to the application. Okay, so I'm going to retry this. Okay, so I'm going to type in same thing, hit submit. Okay, and as expected, the text appeared here in my compiler. So what happened? Right. So the first thing you should notice is that I placed a second parameter in this route decorator here. It's a list with elements post and get. And what this actually does is it basically tells my route function that this page will utilize some sort of post or get methods. And since I want to send HTML form data to the server, I will have to utilize this. And so that gets me to this if statement here. So if request.method equal to post, it will check if my website is requested for a post method, which it did. And actually, in order for me to request a post method from my HTML page, I need a user to click on a button, right? So in this HTML page, right here, I also set an attribute in this form element, and I created two input elements, which are text fields and the submit button. And also notice how I use the name attribute and both of these inputs. That will let me refer to which input elements I want to utilize in my application. Right. So the next step in my application is I check if the submit button is clicked by seeing if the post message has been stored in this dictionary object called request.form. Right. And if so, I assign a variable to request.form text, which refers to whatever I typed in to my text field, right, in this element here. And lastly, I just print the results to check if this variable can be used in my application. And since it was able to print what I wrote in the text field, I would say that we successfully accomplished our goal. But one thing I wanted to show you was how that request.form array or dictionary looks like. So I'm going to print that, rerun it. And now I'm going to type something here. I'm going to type the same thing. Okay, now going back to my print statement here. Okay, so this is basically so this is what the request.form dictionary looks like. So here you can see that it's a dictionary followed by a list, and the list has two tuples, right? And in that tuple, there are two string types object that where the first element or the zeroth element in this case is text. And as you can see, I set the name attribute equal to text. So basically this here created a post method because I actually inputted something into the text field and I wanted to retrieve that information, right? And when I go and click the submit button, it created another post method where this submit represent the name of the attribute here, and submit will be a value. Now, since this text field, I did not give it any value attribute. By default, since it's a text field, the value attribute will just be whatever I typed in this text box here. So that's why I just return whatever I have over here. Okay. Stop this. So that's basically what I'll cover in this video. One last thing I want to talk about regarding Flask or just web frameworks in general. Uh, uh, yeah, so basically, I wanted to talk about another similar web framework, which is Django. Oops. Okay, I'm just gonna refresh the page really quick so it could show the content. Okay, so yeah, basically, Django is quite similar to Flask in a way, except Django utilizes something called a object relational mapping, right, which allows developers to implement a database systems through Python classes, which is something Flask does not have here. If you want to implement databases in Flask, a developer will have to import an external library like SQLite and implement the system from there. But all in all, a developer would want to use Flask if they want to create a small website quickly. Something like a blog or forum page. Whereas for Django, a developer would uh, want to use this framework to create large and complex web applications that utilizes both a front end and a back end. And regarding the future, this web framework has a bright future ahead. The web development space is continuously getting more and more attention. We already have some well-known applications that utilizes this framework, oops, Reddit, Lyft, Patreon, Netflix, and Uber, as well as some other companies down here. And with the growing number in popularity, I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes the number one most popular framework out there, just because of how easy it is to implement. And hopefully, all of you are able to learn something with this video I made. But all in all, I appreciate all of you people for tuning in. And that's basically concludes my video on Flask. Thank you. See you.